This is Diamond Zoysia putting green maintenance with Sean and Adam. So a little background on Diamond Zoysiagrass. This came out of Texas A&M by Dr. Milt Ingleby in 1996. It is a thin, fine texture and is an ultra dwarf grass. It has a great shade tolerance and it decreases fungicide fertilization and watering over bent grass and Bermuda options. The only drawback with zoysia grass is the slow establishment and recovery rate. So for our monthly maintenance schedule, in January, the average low is 36 and the average high is 54, with temperatures dropping well below and well above as well. At this time, dormancy is in full effect, and we would choose to mow every other day or every third day, and we would do this at a 1.125 height. Your standard watering would be applied, and tarping would be done when temperatures reach 25 or expected to reach 25 or below. For our spray applications at this time of year, for Poa annua, we would do Exonerate. For our soil surfactant, we would do Kalo, greens paint. I prefer greens paint to increase your soil temperature, especially in your January and February months. We would apply fungicide and a biological stimulant to help prepare for summer heat. In February, the average low is 38 degrees and the average high is 58. Dormancy is still in effect at this time, and we would keep the same mowing practice of every other day or every third day and at 0.125. Watering and tarping would stay the same. We would still apply fungicide, our POF treatment, our soil surfactant, and our biological. I would not paint every month. I would like to do it every other month or every 3 months, just depending on the amount of play, how long the paint's lasting, and your budget, really. In March, your average low would be 45 degrees and your average high would be 66. During this time, we start to see dormancy start to break in some areas, typically around putting greens. If they have been tarped and they have been painted, you'll see an early green up. We'd still keep mowing to every other day at, and at a height of 0.125. Watering would remain consistent. For our spraying application, we would keep our soil surfactant, fungicide, POA, and our biological stimulant in the program. For April, we have a 52-degree low, 74-degree high. Green up is in full effect at this time. Mowing would become an everyday practice, and at this point, you could drop your height to 0.120 or lower if you want to step down, just depending on the green speed you want. Watering would still be in play. And at this point, in the later April, I would start to verticut and top dress at every other week. Spraying at this point, primo would be done in late April, and we would keep our fungicide, surfactant, fertilizer, and stimulant the same. For May, a 60-degree low and 81-degree high is the average temp. Mowing every day at 0.120. As I said, you could drop at this point as well. Watering and keeping the verticutting and top dressing in the program. Primo, you could step up if you wanted to decrease green speed. That would not be an issue. 4 ounces would probably be the best rate at this point. If you wanted to up, 5 would be dropping. You're growing a little bit too much at this point in the season. Fungicide sends you into posterity, same. Soil surfactants, the same. Fertilization's the same. And our biological stimulant would also be the same.
All right, picking up where Sean left off, in June you still have about the same range, 68 to 87. Mowing stays about the same, watering's the same, verticating, top dressing the same, pretty much same practices, except in this month you get your last week of June hollow tine aerification, which could go over into July, depending on if you have a tournament or something, having to push it back or whatnot. But you want to do it around this time because that's when the Zoysiagrass has a good time to recover. Then in July, you want to see if the stem meter is affected by the aerated greens, which it will be. You want to mow at a lower height and maybe have to double mow. But the watering, verticutting, same practices. In August, pretty much the only thing that changes in August is you start applying your Primo, your PGR, but you're still same practices. A little temperature drop, nothing drastic though. September, pretty much same as August. Starting to get a little bit colder. Watering may not be as necessary. In October, you see your first decent temperature drop. You probably want to raise your mowing height a little bit to 0.12, and watering again is not as necessary, but you still want to make sure. And here's about where your verticutting and top dressing is going to stop for the season. In November, you see another temperature drop. Raise your mowing height to 0.125, and then again the watering. This is where you, according to whatever your super says about October, September, October is when you should stop your verticutting and top dressing. We said in October or in November. December, last month of the year, pretty cold, start of winter. Mowing every other day at a 0.125. Watering isn't as much necessary here, and when the temperatures get below 25 degrees and stay there, that's when you want to put your tarps on to avoid frost damage. Here's your spraying inputs we got for the Diamond Zoysiagrass greens. For our insecticide, we have Syngenta Alciliprin. It treats billbugs, spittlebugs, armyworm, cutworm, sod webworm, white grubs, and chinch bugs. And you only need to use this when the threshold is reached or your signs are present. The soil surfactant we chose is Kalo Tournament Ready, and it's made with renewable resources, and is more effective by 35% over the competitors. And it helps with water retention. For our fungicide, we use Syngenta Posterity Forte, and it treats spring dead spot, brown patch, dollar spot, leaf spot, and zoysia patch.
For our POA treatment, we chose to apply in peak seasons of POA annua. But this is assuming that POA is an issue. A lot of courses, especially newer courses, do not have POA issues. But for our treatment, we chose FMC Exonerate. This will also treat other grasses, none of which should be an issue at the mowing heights of our greens. We chose to do a biostimulant, and PRB9 is a biological stimulant that helps to keep turgor pressure during abiotic stresses such as heat, drought, or salinity. For our fertilizer, we chose BioPro Greens Plus 14410. Initially, we were applying at a 1/10 rate, and during aerification, and after we were applying at a 0.125 rate.
Now we have our equipment used to manage a Diamond Zoysia green. First, we got our Walk Greens mower, and the one we selected is an electric mower, the Toro Greensmaster E-Flex. It's got a 26-inch cutting width, and the reason you use the walk mower is to reduce compaction. Then we got a ride-on greens mower, Toro Greensmaster Triflex, and it is either gas or electric, and now they have the robotic ones as well. They're about a 70-inch cutting width, 70.62, and people frown upon these because of the increased compaction. But to combat that, you can walk mow the cleanups so you don't leave that circle around the green. For our first sprayer, we have a walk sprayer, the Spray Hawk Folding Boom Sprayer. And the point of this is to reduce compaction and increase your precision because you're physically doing it. Then you got the alternate Toro Multi-Pro Turf Sprayer, and they range from 175 to 300 gallons. I think at Walker we use a 200-gallon tank. Maybe we use a 300. I'm not exactly sure, but again, here you're going to have more compaction, but it's going to be a quicker application. And not only just with greens, you can use this all over golf course, wall to wall. But it's going to be a quicker application, 18.5 feet boom width. So if you do it right, you can do a green in 2 passes. And the one at Walker, we have the foam sprayer where it sprays out the foam, and that'll know where you've sprayed at. But now they have a GPS system that tells you where you've sprayed, and it's maybe a little bit more precise. Then we got the aerator, Toro Procore 648. This aerator is a walk aerator, and it reduces compaction as opposed to a pull behind tractor aerator. But I don't see a lot of those in use anymore with this aerator here. It's hydrostatic, and it can be used for solid or hollow tine aeration.
For our sources, we interviewed Mike Edens with Kalo, Jonathan Jones of the Reserve of Lake Kiwi, Andrew Massey of Saluda Valley Country Club, Glenn Crowe of Mosaic Biosciences, and Dion Pierce of Mosaic Biosciences. We also consulted the USGA website, Syngenta, Site One, WeatherSpark, Kalo, Mosaic, Toro, FMC, and Sprayhawk.